Hi, this is Postgres from MySQL DBAs. This is the second episode. My name is Dave Stokes. I'm a technology evangelist for Percona. And in this episode, we're going to talk about ways that Postgres is different and not in a bad way. Now, when I say Postgres is different, I'm not saying it's better, I'm not saying it's worse. I'm just saying it's different. Luckily for a relational database speaking SQL, the SQL commands are pretty much the same to a certain extent. Now, the operational side, it can be a lot different, as you will see later in this series. Now, things that are different. Postgres has features that you're not going to find in MySQL from Oracle or from Percona for that matter. There's no materialized views. There are views, but no materialized views. Postgres added a couple of years ago the merge function, which if you have a history like me of having transaction logs from cache registers, and you need to do batch updates, is a tremendous advantage over doing one line from one register against the database and back. You do it all in one big lump. Postgres has 2 JSON data types. And also, there's some other really neat things like the ability to index only part of a table, of a column. Say like you want to only index the active customers. That speeds up finding your customers a lot easier. Also, the ability to roll your own indexes. We'll do some stuff on indexes in Postgres in another series. But for right now, we're just trying to cover some of the things that are different. Now, something that comes with Postgres is it has better SQL standards compliance. MySQL has always been the just good enough database. Does the minimum of what you need. Sometimes you need a little bit more than that. Also, things like windowing functions are more complete in Postgres. Also, there are sequences. Now, MariaDB has sequences, and MySQL doesn't. Think of it similar to the MySQL auto increment. It has a similar purpose in most cases. But the great thing about it is you can use sequences for generating test data when you create a table. Also, you found out Postgres is the basis for a lot of projects. If you're a MongoDB fan but don't want to run the actual Mongo server, FairdDB speaks the Mongo protocol on top of Postgres. Also, there's a lot of machine learning and AI work being done with Postgres, and one of the more interesting ones is PG vectors. So you don't need a specialized vector database to store your machine learning output. Now, there are some things that are really different that we're only going to touch transaction in a little bit, transactional, and we aren't going to go into detail, but they're out there, and we're going to ignore them for this episode and come back and talk about some of these later. Now, something else you do that's cool with Postgres that you can't do with MySQL is here with the where clause. Here we're going to go out to a database with some tables that has film information, and we only want to be able to look at the data for films where the rating is R or PG, something very handy when you're doing analytics. Also, as I mentioned earlier, it's easy to generate test data. Here's an example. We're creating a table called staff, and that's going to be filled with that select statement there. We're going to take the word employee, and we're going to put that together with the letter, with the variable X, and X is going to have a value from 1 to 500, and that's going to fill up a table for us with that test data. And if we do a select from that table, you see the first 5 rows there. Okay, that's the end of episode 2. Next episode, we're going to do the basic install of Postgres. Thank you. If you need to contact me, here's my contact information and where you can find the slides for this episode.